What's up, everybody? How's it going? It has been a while. I'm sorry for the craziness. I'm sorry that we haven't been super consistent on the live stream. It's been a whirlwind. I'm just going to be honest. It has been a whirlwind. So as you go, I mean, obviously everyone knows that we had the New Year's and everything, and we didn't go live for that. But the reason we didn't go let's try this again. The reason we didn't go live last weekend is because Rick and I were actually down in Florida broadcasting live for AED, the Associated Equipment Distributors. They had their annual summit, and let's just say it went swimmingly. It was unbelievable. We made a ton of industry contacts. We got in front of some really critical people. And I really feel like we're finally rounding a corner with the channel and where I want to take this whole thing. I have multiple vendors that are interested in sending us equipment so that we can start a kind of Top Gear style equipment review, because something that Rick and I have kind of been working on in the background is there's not a whole lot of like independent equipment reviews out there for contractors. Like, you can have a sales guy who's decided to make a video and he's clearly super biased. You've got some Yahoo that's out there that wants to prove Cat is better than everything else, or John Deere is better than everything else, and they're going to manipulate everything to make it look that way. Or you've got the Yahoo that's out there looking for YouTube views, and so he totally wrecks the machine, tries to break it, uses it outside of its normal parameters so that you'll watch his videos. What we want to do is an actual independent equipment review where, as contractors, we take it on the job, we put it through its paces, we spend 3-4 days with the machine, and then from a contractor's perspective, we can kind of tell you all of the goods, the bads, the things to look out for, whether it was worth the price point that the manufacturer is wanting for it. So that's kind of what we've kind of been working towards doing, or adding to the channel, I should say, in the background. After this event, we are well on our way. We've got about 5 manufacturers, I should say, that are looking forward to sending us some gear in the spring, and we're going to start trying it out, and we're going to start putting some videos together. There's a decent chance we've got one, if not more than one, sponsorships in the works, not only for this, but for Sweat and Grime, our podcast, which, if you haven't been listening to Sweat and Grime, go subscribe to Sweat and Grime. While we were down in Florida, we actually got to sit and interview Congresswoman Victoria Fox from North Carolina. There is, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be interviewing Congressman Darren Soto from Florida. And then we've got a bunch of contacts from our show down in Florida that we're going to be interviewing and sprinkling in. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. It's been insane. So all of that to say, I'm sorry we haven't been live consistently, but hopefully this is going to start us back on a relatively consistent live schedule, at least until the season really kicks off in the spring, and I start traveling. So yeah, how are you guys doing? Let's finally get into the comments here. I love it that you guys were already waiting for me in the comments. And by the way, we adjusted the camera view because I actually took this whole setup to Florida, put it back together this evening, and I was like, we're gonna try that camera angle just a little bit lower tonight and see if that kind of looks nice. So tell me what you guys think. I love the gas and aluminum comment are up, because yes, the markets right now on both of those are ridiculously high. So Shane, what's going on? Andrew, Jason, Brandon's in here. Man, this is fantastic. I'm loving it. Jackson, how's it going, man? Yeah, no problem, Jackson. I totally understand. You got to watch your sports. I'm down. I understand. Let's see here. Ethan, what's happening? It's good to see you guys. I'm like legitimately, I was really excited to go live tonight because it has been a little bit that we've gotten to just come hang out. And like, honestly, like sharing the news from Florida, I can't tell you how awesome that trip was. It was so good. I'm really hoping it takes this channel to the next level. Obviously it's nice to make money from just a personal standpoint, but in all honesty, it takes money to kind of elevate everything to the next level, to get Isaac out filming more. That's one of my huge goals. If you guys saw the most recent video, I think it went out Wednesday, where we went out and did the lot clear. That's the style of vlog I would like to start putting out more consistently. The problem is I can't afford right now to pay Isaac to be out there for 12 hours a day filming, and I can't pay him 5 days a week for filming. So to get a sponsorship for the channel to where I can start to move him full time will not only elevate the content, it's going to allow us to get access to better equipment. I mean, it's just, man, it's a snowball effect. So I'm really excited about the possibility of those sponsorships. Let's see here. Big B. That's right, Shane. I like it. It's either that or Hollywood. Rick still calls me Hollywood, which, a little update. Hollywood might not be totally out of the picture. I talked to my old producer that was going to produce the show that I almost had. I pitched him another idea that he loved. We're in the back and forth process of pitching that show to the higher ups. Stay tuned on that. We'll see. Oh, what's going on, Shane? You got the vid? Is that what's going on? E. Ryan, what's happening, my man? Nick, got about 15 inches of snow on Monday. Yeah, I saw your pictures. It's nice having the loader cleaned up, though. But I do not envy you on the snow. I think we're supposed to get 3 inches tomorrow, and like we've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 snow events up here, and all of them have been 3 inches or less. And I'm not complaining. I don't want to pull out any snow removal equipment. I'm good. I'll just no thank you. What'd you think of the 450k, Shane? Just out of curiosity, you got to run the 450k. In my opinion, that's just too small of a dozer. I'm not a fan. It is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of the John Deere dozer cab overall. If I'm being honest, I'm just not a fan of the John Deere dozer cab. Brandon, I did see, yeah, there you go, Shane, got the nose hair. I trimmed them up for you guys because we had that lower angle. I trimmed them up a little bit for you. Brandon, I did talk to JCB, believe it or not, not the manufacturer. There were a couple, so this whole trade show, let me back up. This was like a trade show for the white collar world. It was manufacturers set up with booths. So we had equipment manufacturers and attachment manufacturers, along with finance companies, along with debt collection companies, along with, man, I'm trying to think of what all was there. And their goal was to get dealerships to carry their product. So all of the attendees of this event were actually high-level dealers. So we had AIS, we had Alta, we had all of the big cat dealers, we had all of the big JCB dealers. And which leads me into, I did talk to JCB on the dealership level. I did not talk to him on a manufacturer level. And it was just cordial conversation. We didn't talk about how much I'm not a fan of their equipment, or the fact that I don't like it, or I was rude. I wasn't rude. I was very kind. I was polite. I minded my manners. I was on my best behavior. So I'm gonna push that pin out of there so it's not sitting right in your face. So yeah, while I did talk to them, I didn't talk true like let's get some equipment out here. But we did have, so we're gonna have like 2 or 3 different mulcher heads sent out to us in the spring. We've got this ridiculous machine, I cannot remember the name of it, from Sweden, I believe. It's like a loader and a backhoe crossover, and it is the most incredible. It blew Rick and I's minds. It is truly a European machine. It could absolutely have a home here in the US. If you could get American workers to think differently about the usage of the machine, it would absolutely have a place in the US market. This thing was freaking awesome. There's a really good chance we're going to get one of those out on a job site and actually get to put it through its paces and kind of hopefully introduce the US market to it, because I think you said they've been selling it for 10 years here in the States and they've only got 30 sold to date. That's in the States. I should specify that's in the States. Across the water, they've sold a bunch of these machines because, like I said, it's very European. It is, you'll have to see it. It's an incredible machine. So, Josh, I'm currently going to heavy equipment operator school. I have 0 experience prior. I'm nervous about landing a job because of that. So, Josh, I'm going to tell you right now, if you have good work ethic, if you show up to work on time, and you keep your head down and do what's asked of you, you will not have a problem finding a job. This industry is just all over new guys coming into it. A lot of contractors have actually been very upfront and said they prefer to train a new and experienced guy over finding some crusty old guy that's set in his ways, that doesn't want to do what they need him to do. So don't stress. You will absolutely land a job. Just keep at it. Apply to a handful of places. I guarantee you're going to find a position. And honestly, reach out. Like at any point in time, you see my address, my email address is scrolling. Whoop, I always do that. It's always the wrong side. Email address is scrolling down here. Feel free to shoot me an email if you want some help, if you need some tips, pointers, if you need someone to just say, woosah, woosah. I can do that for you. Feel free to reach out. Riley, what's up from Orlando, Florida? Dude, Orlando, Riley. I wish I would have known that because I was just in Orlando. Yeah, I was just in Orlando. What the F? We should have hung out and grabbed a drink because I was sitting in a hotel room when we weren't downstairs schmoozing. Ryan Garrett, what's happening, my man? Good to see you. What's my opinion on forestry mulching versus excavator with thumb? Honestly, that is entirely dependent upon the project you're doing. So if you've got a lot of big timber, generally what Rick and I do, we will cut the tops off the trees, we will mulch the tops, and then we will stack all of the timber using the excavator with the thumb. If you are stuck with either burial or, well, yeah, most of the time it's going to be a combination of the two, because a lot of it depends on the size of the timber as well. I mean, if you're talking a bunch of 12 to 16 inch diameter trees, that mulcher, that's just too much for a mulcher. That's where you're going to have to drop the trees. You're going to have to cut the tops. You can mulch all the tops, take your usable timber and either stack it or ship it out or do whatever you need to do with it, and then bury the stumps. That's generally the way we do it. If you've got a small lot with a bunch of scrub brush on it and most of your trees are 10 inches or under, that's something where I would just go in and mulch the whole thing. You really just have to look at what the lot has on it and what your machine is going to be capable of doing. So it just really depends. The American Standard is, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped Landmark Property Solutions. Hello from up north. So you're not that far north because I'm in Michigan, so you can't be that far north, but it is, yeah, hello. And how cold is it where you are? In freedom units, please. Please keep all measurements in freedom units because I'm a dumb American and I don't understand any of that metric stuff, even though it's way easier to understand than our freedom units. Anyway. The American Standard is 3 inches, Nick. We actually have prosthesis prosthesis that we use to give us the, you know, the what we talk about is 5 to 6, and we call that bragging here in America. So take it for what it is. Landmark, yes, FAE is one of the ones that we were heavily involved in, and they will be sending us ahead in the spring. There's a decent chance they will be sponsoring the channel. We are continuing that conversation, but we actually talked to about 5 of their key individuals that were at the show, and they were very interested in what we're doing with the channel. So, let's see here. No, Ryan and Brandon going back. Josh, I just got out of the military. Oh, so you just got out of the military. I'm going to tell you right now, you're pretty much a shoo-in when it comes to getting a job. Because everyone loves military in the trades. It means they already know you can work outside in the elements. They already know you can take instructions. They already know you got a thick skin. That's 3 of the biggest things in this industry that you struggle to learn when you first get started. So I'm telling you right now, Josh, you don't need to worry about getting a job. You're gonna do just fine. Oh, and you've got automotive mechanic experience. So yeah, dude, you're golden, man. Don't sweat it. Shane, 450K was my first experience with the new decelerator. I haven't run a dozer in over 10 years. Took a bit to get it, but I found the rhythm and was able to get the job done in 3 hours. Nice. And just knocking down dump truck piles. And I agree with it being too small. That's the problem. The 450, like I've run D3s before a fair amount. That 450 just feels tiny. Even compared to a D3, it just feels tiny. I was not a fan of the 450. But I'm glad you got some seat time in a dozer, brother. Andrew, running a skid steer with a grapple, grabbed on the brush pile. When I squeezed on the pile, a branch snapped and came through the glass. First time I broke glass on a machine. Embarrassing. You know, Andrew, I'm gonna tell you, there are always accidents that happen. There's a difference between an accident and being careless in the machine, and I tell you, the judgment is a lot lower when it's an accident like that, where something has just sprung back. There was no way to foresee it happening. If you had brought something into the cab with you because you were in an excavator and you weren't paying attention, which I almost did for the first time in my career on this last job I worked with Rick on, then I would judge you a little more. But in all honesty, and by the way, I did not break the glass on the cab. I got super lucky at the last second. My eye caught the branch coming towards me, and it just gave me a nice thwack on the glass, but I felt like a total idiot after that one. But at the same time, you know, let's use this as a teachable moment, Andrew, for everyone here in the comments, not for you. Obviously, you're an experienced operator, but you can never be too careful. You can never be too on your game when you're doing anything with these machines, obviously, but especially when you're doing anything with brush or trees. It is just, there's always the, like Andrew just said, it was when he squeezed down, a branch snapped and it came back and it hit the cab. The one I was doing, I had grabbed with the bucket and the thumb, I had grabbed a whole wad of brush, and I was just booming in a little bit to sneak around a tree. And so I was looking up to make sure that the top of my stick was going to clear the tree that I was swinging around. And at the last second, I glanced down because I'm sticking in to get the clearance. The last second I looked down, and there's a branch pointed right at the cab, and it's coming right at me. And I was able to let go of the control, and it just went wham. I mean, it was loud, scared the poop out of me, but it didn't break the glass. But all that to say, especially when it comes to doing tree stuff, there are so many things going on. There's so many variables at play. You can never be too careful when it comes to this stuff. So learn from my experience of being stupid, learn from Andrew's experience of just having happenstance things go crazy. Just be super careful anytime you're in these machines, but especially doing tree work. Excuse me, pardon me. Let's see here. Oh, I just occurred to me, Riley, you asked what's my favorite skid steer. Honestly, I don't know that I've got a favorite in general. I do really like the new Case B series. They're really nice machines. I know I'm a sucker for Case. You guys make fun of me all the time, but that B series is a really nice skid. I really like, and hear me out here, really like Takeuchi skids, with the exception of the emissions issues they're having on the new ones. I love Takeuchi skids. They're beasts. They run forever. They're reliable. In fact, I would have to say, if it weren't for the emissions issues on the new ones, that would absolutely be my favorite skid, hands down. But unfortunately, on the new ones, they're still working through the kinks with all of their emission stuff. So sorry I skipped that question. I just remembered it, and there you go. Let's see. Where do we go here? Excavator and thumb, just bring the chainsaw. Yeah, I mean, if you're using an excavator and a thumb, absolutely, you're gonna have to have a chainsaw on site. You're gonna be cutting, because you got to be able to stack the wood and sort it. You got to get the tops off of them. You got to bury stumps. So yeah, it is what it is. Brandon, I am in Lower Michigan and I'm from Texas. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes, it is. It's cold up here. For a Texas boy, it's cold. Riley, I just answered that question. Sorry you had to ask it a second time. Well, Matt, what's happening, man? And I did say unit. It's good to see you, brother. And I apologize for you guys, Matt, Shane. I think those are the only two in here that have channels. I have been doing a piss poor job of keeping up on everyone's content. I apologize. It has just been chaos. The last, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, like things are just really accelerating with the channel and things I'm doing outside of the channel. So I apologize. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry. Anyway, Andrew, no need for freedom units. Simple conversion is x2 plus 32 and join the rest of the world. x2 plus 32. See, you've already lost me. Now I'm having to do math. And I don't know if you're familiar, but I'm not a math guy. Okay. Oh, you know what? I have top chat on. Son of a bitch, you guys are supposed to tell me turn live chat on. I'm sorry if I've missed your comments and I've been an ass. I haven't seen your comments because I've had top chat on. My God, you'd think after doing this for a freaking year, I would figure that out by now. Anyway. Jackson, what if you're under 3 inches? Well, you know what? We have mouths for a reason, and learn how to really utilize that piece and it will serve you well. Dan, hey Brian, I keep thinking more and more about the details of starting my own excavation company, but I'm unsure about what to do when it comes to health insurance. Well, Dan, you've got a couple options. You can just go without temporarily. I will say if you make under a certain amount, assuming you're in the US, because in Canada you'd be covered, basically anywhere else on the planet you'd be covered. But in the US, if you make under a certain amount, you actually qualify for Medicaid. That's actually how my family and I are receiving coverage right now, believe it or not. And it's not mooching off the system, it's there for a reason. So I will say if you do give up your income to go start your company and you are not showing any income, you absolutely will qualify for Medicaid. That can help supplement you until you cross the bridge. And then unfortunately, you are stuck going with Health Marketplace and you have to pick a policy and it's probably going to run you about $1,200 for your family and you. Welcome to the US of A. That's all I can say. It sucks. It is a huge expense and it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. So I hope that kind of helps you out a little bit. Cox, is it Nathan? Damn it. It's been so long, man. It has been a long time and I'm glad you're in here, but I cannot remember. Is it Nathan? I can't remember what your name is. But how are you? And how are things? Cause it has been a long time since I've heard from you, man. Lever Monkey, Shane. Yep, there we go. Landmark, -5 to negative. Oh, good Lord. -5 to -30 for the last few weeks. 18 inches of snow and the cold has put a damper on doing much. Yeah, no thanks. I'm sorry. I'll come see you in the summertime and hang out, but no thanks to all that. I'm out. Boom. Woodlow. I'm doing a big clearing job this week with a John Deere 50 Mini, and I'm worried about it. I haven't done much land clearing before. So if you're using a Mini, a 50's decent size Mini, but still it's a Mini, I'm hoping you're not tangling with too big of trees because that is a relatively small machine. The biggest thing I'll say is when you go to drop a tree, the technique I always use is, let's say the pin is my tree and we're going to drop it going this direction like that, right? So when I go to drop my tree, especially if I'm in a Mini where I don't have a tremendous amount of balls, you can drop the opposite direction of a little lean, but if that sucker's way laying over, don't try it in a Mini. You don't have the cojones to push that tree the wrong way. That's number one. But if we're gonna drop it again going this direction, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dig the roots all on this side, I'm gonna dig the roots on the back side, and I'm gonna dig the roots on this side. What that does is it creates a hinge point right here so that when I go up, I put my boom or my arm as high as I can and I start to push, it's gonna make that tree fall where I want it to because I've dug my hinge using the existing roots. And so it's going to cause that tree to fall. The other thing that does is because you have a big root ball here. This is something I actually proved Rick wrong on this last tree clear because he was telling me dig in front of it and that would pop it up. It's not true. If you dig in front of it, it gives a place, it gives relief for the root ball to fall into. If you leave that hinge point right here, as it falls, the root ball will actually be up out of the ground, kind of sitting on the roots here. And that way you can get your chainsaw in there, you can cut the stump off of it, you can grab it, take it, go bury it, do whatever you're gonna do. Another big piece of advice I can give you on a land clear, especially in a Mini, always look up. Don't take it for granted that just because you dug the roots, you're all good, ready to push. especially if you're dealing with a lot of dead timber that's a little sketchy. You can absolutely, so let's say we've got this big tree here and it's deadfall. As you start to push, the top of the tree is moving slower than this section here. So it's actually got a force pushing it back. And if it's dead, what can happen is the top of this tree, as it starts to fall, will actually fall back on top of your machine. So always look up, always check your surroundings. You can never be too careful on a land clear. Doing tree work is some of the most dangerous work in the industry. Just always, always, always be aware. That being said, don't overthink it. At the same time, I mean, don't overcomplicate this. It's not rocket science. As long as you're kind of understanding the forces that are at play, and you're understanding that, you know, trees, especially while they're on the ground, they're like springs. You got to pay attention to the forces that's going on with the tree. We had Cody working for us on this last job, and he would just full out go cut into a tree that was down on the ground, and he's looking straight at his blade, and he's going full bore, and he's not paying a lick of attention to the fact that as he's cutting, the tree's starting to settle and it's building up tension in that wood, so that he would get through a cut and all of a sudden, whap, it would slam up. You've got to pay attention to what's going on all around you when you start cutting into trees or you start pulling on trees. You've got to look at the forces being applied and figure out if it's going to cause some sort of a spring back somewhere in the system, because that's what kills a lot of guys. So I hope that helps out a little bit. Ryan, when do you think I should start sending out my resume and reaching out to companies? Still a long ways away from warming up, but I don't want to get started too late. In all honesty, Ryan, I would say probably early March would be a good time to start sending out resumes. Before that, guys just aren't even. So I'll tell you right now, most companies are working on tax stuff. They're working on getting all their gear ready for the next season. They're working on, you know, they're actually, some of them now, we're past the purchasing time. But that's early winter. They're purchasing equipment for the following year. Then it's taxes. Then they're going to start ramping up on getting their gear ready for the following. So they're honestly not going to be in a position to even consider hiring, most likely, until mid to late March is when they're just going to start cracking the resumes open. So I would say right about that early March would be a great time to start getting your resume out. Bobcats are junk in my opinion. Ryan, I will drink to that because that is a solid opinion. I agree. Not a fan of Bobcats. I think they're loud. I think they're clunky. I think they're not that well built. That's just me. Jackson, 100%. No need to be embarrassed. He's safe. And at the end of the day, it wasn't him being stupid. It happens. That's the dangerous part of tree work. I have a Cat 309 and an FABL2 EX100 VT. Can't wait to get it. I will say this, the FAE, so we had, I think, 3 or 4 manufacturers at that show that all had mulching heads. That FAE, those guys, they've really got me sold on taking it for a spin. So one of the things we learned about them is they actually have a 2-step motor in them. And it gets the head up to speed faster, and when the head starts to slow down as you're chunking through material, it will actually step the motor down, apply more torque to get that head fired back up again, which is freaking awesome. They've also got a really solid head design. I don't know if you've got oh, you do, because it's the BL2, so you got the bite limiters on them. That's going to make a night and day difference. So the Fecon head that we've got with the drum on it does not have the bite limiters, and so what happens is, as you can imagine, here's one of your cutter teeth. As it comes around, it grabs that tree and it actually pulls it up into the head. Excuse me. And if you've watched any of our videos, you'll know that relatively frequently, I mean, you get used to it and you kind of know where that line is, where it's going to kind of get gummed up, but relatively frequently we have to actually back off, actually drag the head to get material unclogged from the drum, and then we can fire it back up again. With those bite limiters, it really inhibits that, and I'm hoping you've got the actual, I'm fairly confident on their skid models, it comes as standard equipment, but it's got the door on the front, which the Fecon does not. And with that door on the front, you can mulch right up to a house, and you're throwing the material down at the ground instead of out and away from the machine. Those FAE heads are no joke. I'm excited on your behalf. Let's just put it that way. Shane, let's see here. There you go. Let's see, Jake, the green-eyed snake. What's happening? Need to get your kidneys looked at after operating at Takeuchi. Oh, why? That's rude. That's so rude to Takeuchi. Ah, yes. Jackson, you got it, man. Go check out the, holy hell, I didn't realize I got this far behind in the comments. Sweet Jesus, stop talking, Brian. Yes, go check out Sweat Grime. It's awesome. And Jackson's episode was awesome. Didn't want to sound like I was making excuses. There should definitely, yes, Andrew, there should be the prison bars on anything that does tree work. It's just, it happens. Hammer work as well. Great point, Shane. Ooh, kicking in overdrive, trying to catch up on the comments here. Ryan, multiply the 10 by Fahrenheit by 2, then add 32. Good God, people, this is, my God, that is the most complicated. So I'm going to take 18 degrees, I'm going to multiply by 2, that's 36, then I'm going to add 32, which is what, 60, 70? Did I get that right? I don't know. It takes too much effort, and I'm not going to sit here and think about it. That's my point. Just use freedom units on this channel. I don't have time to pull out a calculator to figure out what we're doing here. My God, y'all. My God. You Canadians need to go American and use our stuff. It's a lot easier. That is the American way right there, Brandon, 100%, because the reality is metric is 1,000 times easier than our system, but we're also dumb, bullish Americans, and so we're like, God damn it, I know it's a more difficult system, but you gotta learn my way, America. And that's how we roll. That's why the entire, so little known fact, actually it's a well-known fact. If you fly an airplane, or if you are in any sort of a ship, the standard language for both of those is English, even though English is not the most common language spoken in the world. That's the sway we have as Americans, where we're like, fuck you guys, speak English, because that's how we roll. It's dumb, but that's how we roll. Anyway, Ambitious, what's happening? God dang it, Ambitious, I knew this was gonna happen. Jay, is it Jay? It's Jay. I'm confident it's Jay. What's going on? Thought you were skipping this week with live stream. Didn't see the preview. I know, I totally forgot to set up the preview, and I didn't realize it until I went and set this up 15 minutes before we went live. I apologize, but last weekend was the one that we skipped. So I am back. We're live. We're happy. Thanks for showing up, Jay, with Ambitious Dirtworks, because I remembered. Anyway, let's see here. You're using the roots as your holding wood on a regular, that would, correct, Jake. That's exactly what I'm doing. You're just creating a hinge point. Carlos Gutierrez. How much time does it take to be a dozer operator? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Carlos, if you want to claim to be a dozer operator, it would take you the 5 minutes that it takes to get into the seat, start it up, figure out how to make it move, and away you go. But if you want to be a good dozer operator, it all depends on a number of factors. You have to have seat time, obviously, because you have to just spend seat time. So if you're able to get really consistent seat time, you might be able to be a decent dozer operator in 6 to 8 months. If you get really poor seat time and you're not really getting in the seat that much, then I would say you're probably a couple of years. And then you've got the fact of how quick do you pick things up. There are some guys, like, no joke, Ryan, the guy that I worked with out in Minnesota this past summer, got in a dozer, and within like 3 or 4 days, he wasn't an expert. I couldn't stick him on an extreme slope and he would know what to do. But when it came to carrying grade, within like 3 or 4 days, he was solid on that machine. Other guys take a little bit longer to really learn, and this is no detriment to other guys. Dozers are really, really difficult machines to operate. Some guys may take months before they get to that level. So there's a lot of factors at play. I would say if you were to run dozer full time within a year to a year and a half, you could pretty well be a solid dozer operator. And really from there, you're just learning little small niche things about technique, such as operating on extreme slope, or how to take down a tree with a dozer, or maybe you've never pushed scrapers or ran a ripper or stuff like that. You're always critiquing and you're always finessing, but the actual dozing skill you've pretty well got down. Just depends. Woody, thanks for that. The trees are 10-inch to 1-foot alders and a lot of brush. So I can't remember because I'm not a tree guy as much as we clear property and stuff. Are alders a softwood? Because if it's a softwood, you might be able to get away with mulching them. But if that's a pretty hardwood, you're gonna be beating on that head trying to mulch the entire length of those trees, which is why most guys will cut the tops off, cut the root ball off, section it up for firewood or whatever, and then just mulch the tops and bury the stumps. James, what's going on, my man? How are you, sir? Good to see you. Shane, it's supposed to be 65 in California. I do miss the South this time of year. I'll say that. I miss Texas this time of year. Efix, what's going on, my man? In the loader tonight, so I'm able to actually hang for once. Hey, that's awesome. So I'm assuming you're doing some sort of snow removal, which sucks, but I'm glad you're here. Yes, sir. Been a good memory. Nathan. It is Nathan. Yes, nailed it. My God. Really busy till the last couple of weeks. Had some snow, temperatures in the 20s, which is nothing to the guys in the north or north of the border, but it sucks in Tennessee. Yeah, you guys did get a cold pop down there in Tennessee. We flew over you guys on our way to Orlando this last week, and you guys gave us some turbulence with the stuff that was sitting over your neck of the woods. It was a fun time. Let's see here. Bacon, what's a good job for an injured back? Ready to turn in the Freightliner in March and get dirt under my nails again. If you got an injured back, excavator's a pretty good one. That's generally considered to be the old guy machine on the job site because it is easier on your back. You're not slamming around. A roller is a really good one for a bad back because you're, for the most part, not going to bounce a whole heck of a lot, especially if you're doing asphalt, which would be great. Yeah. Outside of that, unfortunately, most things in this industry are going to jar the shnikes out of you. So... hard to get 3-inch out of a P out of a 6. Whew, that's true. Hey, what's going on? We've either got, is it Angela or is it Michelle? So reality is a comedy. My God, I can't talk. Reality is a comedy is actually a personal friend of mine. I sold them their backhoe. That is Angelo and Michelle Moretti. It's good to see you guys. It has been forever. Thanks for coming and hanging out in the live stream. I'm happy to see you guys. And I hope things are going well because we haven't caught up in forever. It reminds me I need to give you guys a call at some point here. Let's see here. What do we got? Yeah, no, sometimes just gonna let it freeze and then chip it off. Yeah, absolutely. Nathan, absolutely check out the podcast for sure. In this weather, 3 inches is kind of generous some days. Sean, 100%. In this weather, if I can get 3 inches out of the cover, if we can make it past the coveralls, it's a good day. Yeah, because, you know, she tucks up inside sometimes. Softwood, no mulcher, just chainsaw at a burn pile. Well, so that's the other alternative on those, in all honesty, that I don't generally consider because we don't like to burn up here. But you could absolutely start a brush pile and just burn it. It just depends on what is your end goal on the job and what do you have available to you equipment wise. So Patrick O'Neill, it's I know the name. I don't know if you've been in the live stream or if I've just seen you comment, but welcome to the live stream. Just got out of heavy equipment school. Where's a good place to start to learn things with a job? Apply for job, get job, figure out where they're going to stick you on the job, and then just stay off your phone and always be looking around at what all's going on the job site. You need to keep your head on a swivel because that's how you're going to learn. Watch what the other operators are doing, and that's every piece of equipment. Watch the general flow of the job site because that's one thing you're not learning in heavy equipment school. You're learning how to run the machines, but you have no idea how machines interact on the job. You have no idea what the general flow of the job is and what the progression of the job looks like. That's the sort of stuff that you actually need to be paying attention to. So really, it's wherever they put you. If you're not actively doing something, you better be observing what's going on around you. So let's see here. Where did we go? Garrett, what did you do? Good to see you too. Hey James, yeah, thank you for that. Minus 42 Celsius. I don't know what that is because I'm not about to do all that math. Because okay, so here it is. Times 2 is negative 82, and then we add 32 degrees to it, right? So that's like negative 140. I know I'm wrong there, but my point is that's a ridiculous math equation, guys. Come on now. Let's see here. Jamal Collins, what's happening? 23-year-old operator, family business. Just want to say thanks for the tips and tricks. Jamal, thanks for watching, man. In all honesty, I say this to everyone who comes in here and thanks me. Ultimately, the thanks is to you guys. You guys are what power this channel. You guys are what make me move the ball forward. I appreciate you watching, my man. And let me know if there's anything specific you want tips or tricks on, and I'll see what I can do. I'm trying to keep up with videos with requests, but at the same time, I got so much stuff rolling. But let me know, and I'll put it in the queue for sure. So Angelo, yes, I agree. Let's do dinner at some point here. In fact, I'm gonna write a note so I don't forget to call you guys. In fact, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna call your wife because I can get a hold of your wife way easier than I can get a hold of you. So I'm gonna arrange it with Michelle. But we will see if we can't arrange dinner. And this is actually a good week. My wife and kids are in Texas right now. My wife is dropping the children with their grandparents, so it will be just me and my wife, so we can actually have a nice leisurely dinner without crazy children in the middle of it. Anyway, yes, Angelo, it is going to be ridiculously cold the next couple, well, not for Michigan, but still, yeah, it's going to be cold. For a Texas boy, it's going to be cold. So I don't blame you working in the shop. That's where I would be as well. Let's see, Nathan. Are we between server? Okay, you're going back and forth. Right on. You need to check out Nox. Okay, so you guys are all talking amongst yourselves. Now I have, dang it. I rushed to get to the bottom of the comments here. And now I have nothing to talk about because you guys are all talking amongst yourselves. Let's see here, Ryan, do you have a video on questions to ask in interviews? I'm trying to figure what questions I should ask and shouldn't ask when it comes to go. No, but that is actually a really good video idea, Ryan. So let's write that down. So video idea. What questions to ask? Sorry, you guys get to watch me take notes. Okay, now let's talk about that, Ryan. That's a fantastic question. Thank you. Gotta get my booze in. All right, questions that I would ask. And by the way, these are totally valid, legitimate questions. You don't need to worry about it. What are your hours for typical, like, height of the season? That's a totally legitimate question. Do you guys typically work 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week? Totally legitimate question. If it's union, your pay and compensation is going to be pretty well laid out. One of the things I would ask is, do you guys, would you guys ever consider paying over scale? Do you guys pay operators over scale? In other words, can I expect a raise over time, or is that directly tied to the union contract? That's a totally legitimate question. I would ask what your general start time is. Do you guys take a layoff in the winter time? What vacation days do you get? Is it only major holidays or anything like that? Really good questions too. Am I expected to supply my own, actually kind of rephrase that. What am I expected to supply on my own as an operator? So do I need to bring my own grease gun? Do I need to bring my own grease? Do I need to worry about small tools for fixing things, or are they going to take care of everything? Let's see here. I'm trying to think of some other questions. This is a good one that I need to actually think about, but there's a lot of questions that I would just kind of over the course of the interview ask. Depending on the size of the company, the tool questions is actually a pretty legitimate one. I know that sounds kind of silly, but that's a pretty legit question. Let's see here. Help me out here, guys. Let's get this rolling in the comments, because I'm trying to think of some other ones. That hits all of the high ones. If you're not in the union, if it's not a union company, how frequently do you guys give pay raises? Do you give bonuses at the end of the year? Let's see here. Do you guys do any sort of retirement contribution? That's a really legitimate question to ask, especially where we're at now. Do you guys supply any clothes? That's another great one. Some employers will actually supply you with some shirts, PPE. Some guys will actually get you a coat. Do they supply that, or is that something that you need to be, you know, take care of on your own? That's a great question. That kind of hits all of the big ones. Oh, do I typically have to drive to the job site, or do we meet at the yard? That's a great question to ask. I don't know. See if you guys can think of some more, because that kind of expounds mine. Expounds isn't even the right word. I'm sorry, guys. My brain's farting out. That's exhausted my questions. I am exhausted. Let's see here. Hey James, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. We'll catch you sometime here soon. Let's see here, Ryan. I just need a video. Okay, I'll get you by March, Ryan. We'll put a video together. Andrew, the Knox. Now, hang on a second. What are you talking about, Ryan? You need to check out Knox FR. They got a sweet sale going on. They got some super nice work shirts. Just order. Huh? Okay. So check that out, guys. Andrew's just letting you guys know a nice clothing deal. Although you should head over to Diesel and Iron Productions for all of your work attire needs, because you can have cool shirts that say Diesel and Iron on them. I'm a good salesman, aren't I? I tell you, great salesman. Got to get back on the road, but we'll keep listening. Thanks for the help, new guy. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Bacon. Appreciate it, man. It was good to see you. I run a D5 at work. You got any tips for backblading? So the biggest tip I can tell you for backblading is don't whenever possible, because, and I talk about this in my latest dozer trick video. It's kind of an advanced dozer tricks. I talk about this. It actually gets to where it's harder to backblade than it is to go forward when you become a really seasoned dozer operator. I've gotten to where I hate backblading, and so I would say ultimately the goal is make it to where you don't have to backblade. But if you're doing finish work like parking lots or some finish grades for residential lots that you need to backblade, one of the biggest things I can tell you is don't immediately put the blade in float. What you want to do is set the blade just to where it's touching the dirt and start to roll backwards, and you want a little build up underneath your blade that's going to cushion that blade, because what happens is if I put the blade in float, you've got the full weight of that blade that drops down, and it will actually create a hard shelf and a divot in your grade as you pull backwards. Versus if I just set it to where it's touching the dirt, I start to track backwards and I'm maintaining grade using active controls, and I let that dirt kind of build up on the backside of the blade. What it does is it cushions and it holds the weight of that blade up. Once you've got a little bit of dirt, and I'm only talking like a little 4 or 5 inch windrow, it's not that much. Once you've got that, then you can slam it forward and put it in float, and then your float is only controlling up and down, right? So once you slam it in float, all you're going to control is the side to side pitch, so that you can kind of roll with the undulations of the grade. But that's going to stop you from having that hard shelf when you put the blade in float. And then same as when you come out of float. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull back on the blade just a hair to kick it out of float mode, and then you're going to slowly ratchet that blade up, so that it's going to give you that nice easy transition. So that's honestly, that's about the only tip I've got, because outside of that, like, you're backblading. There's not really anything else to it. You're just backblading. Everyone go back. Got back. My God, Brian, let's have some more alcohol and help with that reading. That'll do it. Got back to Seattle last week and got a job in New Orleans, rebuilding levees on a Cat 349. Oh, dude, that'll be a sweet job. SDK, which, by the way, good to see you, my man. That's gonna be an awesome job. I would love to see some pictures of that job. If you get a chance, shoot some over. That'd be awesome. Nathan, believe it or not, we are sowing grass in the last week of November. Actually had grass come up. That's insane. To seed grass that late in the season and actually having it growing is pretty crazy, which is especially crazy considering, I don't know about you guys, but we had a crap load of rain this season, and so we were all convinced it was going to be a super rough winter, and then for whatever reason it all dried up and we haven't gotten a whole lot of precipitation since it got cold. So yeah, that's crazy that you guys were sowing seed that late in the season. The front of the blade works just fine. Yep. Andrew, absolutely. Do you carpool the job site? Yep. Great question, Angelo. Landmark, when you come up north to test run the mulcher, do I get to pay you or do I have to? Yeah, ×2 plus, that's right, ×2 plus 32. My going rate's $30, so ×2 plus 32. I'll take it all day long, brother. That'll work. But no, in all honesty, depending, where are you actually at in ye old Canada? Just out of curiosity, because I've got like 4 or 5 guys that I'd love to go see that are all kind of in a general area. But if you're way outside, then we're definitely gonna have to do the ×2 plus 32. Brandon, baby steps, my man, baby steps. I did not get a sponsor. Sorry, my keyboard is a filthy mess. I'm an animal. Ugh. Baby steps. I'm trying to get sponsorship for the channel so that I can pay Isaac, my videographer and editor, to come hang out full time. That takes a tremendous workload off of my plate. Once we get them to sponsor this channel and the podcast, and they realize the glorious content that we can put out when we're banging on all cylinders, that's when I'm gonna go hit them up and be like, all right guys, here's the deal. I need a D11, I need Volvo's biggest excavator, and I need at least 4 off-road haul trucks, and we need a JCB to mark where our claim is gonna be. That's when you drop those bombshells. Up until there, we're just gonna have to wait. So anyway, so Ryan, Volvo and Cat, this is the level they operate. They weren't on the floor, they had suites, and unfortunately, because we were doing the live broadcast while we were down there, I didn't make it up to any of the suites to talk to the big boys. So here's what I'm expecting to happen. We start with the lower grade guys and we kind of do our proof of concept. We start putting out the content, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go hit up some of the bigger boys and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. You're going to want to get in on this. And at that point, they will absolutely want to get in on it because I'm showing off all of the next tier down equipment, and they're going to want to highlight their stuff. So that's the strategy there. Sean, I was in Louisiana in a place called Houma doing levees. Was a pretty good job. Good experience, not a bad place to be, especially in the wintertime. I imagine that's the case. Bobby Gematria, what's happening, my man? Thanks for coming and hanging out. It's been a while. Colton's Equipment, what's happening? Good to see ya. Same thing in Washington State. Got brutally cold, snowed 8+ inches. Now has been in mid-30s, low 40s here on out. Still a little snow on the ground. This has been a weird winter. That's all I can say. Like, we were all like, this is the first year in like the last 5 years. I actually pulled the snowblower out. I serviced it. I got it all prepped and ready because I was confident that sucker was going to be out here like every other week, because we got so much freaking rain this year. And then when it finally got down to where the temperatures were freezing and it was going to be snow, it dried up. And here, I know north is getting pounded, but here in Michigan, out of all, I think we've had like 4 or 5 really solid snow events, and they've all been 3 inches or less. So it's I think I pulled a snowblower out one time, and it was really because my 7-year-old wanted to snowblow the driveway. That was literally the only reason. Otherwise I would have just drove through it and it would have packed down just fine. So anyway, Andrew, my goodness, we have a sweet thing for Mr. Colton. That's nice. Jay, take a union test tomorrow for local 66, trying to do a little study refresher, hoping to get in this year, as it will be my second time taking the test. There's 400 testing, and they're only taking 25 to 30 guys. Okay. I'm just gonna take a drink to prep for this one. This is what irritates me about the union. The union is we're all gonna agree, the International Operators Union, it's international. They have a tremendous amount of resources to pull from. Yet somehow they are struggling in this job market. They're struggling to take more than 25 to 30 people into the apprenticeship at any given time. Are you effing kidding me? You're telling me you can't ramp up that program and start shoving that pipeline full of candidates to get them in the seats? Come on. That drives me nuts. That really drives me nuts. And you can't tell me that you couldn't pool resources with other locals to either add to, or maybe ship some guys out of state to another local training facility just to get more asses in seats. That's what this industry needs so freaking bad. Come on, ramp up the training program. That's what drives me nuts about the union. You got 400 people testing, and then they're only taking 25 to 30 guys. That being said, Jay, if you don't get in on this go around, just get in the industry, just start operating, because right now chances are good that you're going to be earning pretty dang close to the same wages that you would running for a union company because of the market right now. Go get your ass in a seat, go get your experience. Down the road, you might be able to bypass the whole apprenticeship program thing and just get right in as a journeyman. That's my best piece of advice. Yeah, it's whatever. That irritates me. Anyway, what's your thoughts on the electric equipment like the case backhoe? Great question, Colton. I think it's a great concept. I think ultimately you will see the future of equipment go this direction as we, especially as tier 5 emissions get passed down and it becomes harder and harder and harder to pass emissions testing. It gets harder and harder to get under the thresholds the government sets. I think you're going to see a lot more manufacturers start going towards the electric route. But unfortunately, battery technology is just not there to the point that you can take that case. The case backhoe is a prime example. That is not a contractor machine. That's a municipal machine. That's a machine that's made to go out and you can drive around town and you can go dig up a water main. So you're digging for 45 minutes to an hour in the morning, digging up your water main. Your guys work on the water main. You get a dump truck load of stone. You use your front bucket. You throw the stone in the hole. You get some sand. You throw it in the hole. Or I got the backwards, sand over the pipe, and then you throw your stone down for the road, and then you get some cold patch or whatever. They bring by some hot mix, and you throw that down with the backhoe. And over the course of the entire 10-hour workday, the machine actually runs for roughly 3 to 4 hours worth of time. The rest of it is either sitting or it's driving to and from the location. That's what the case electric backhoe is for. It will not hold up to an actual workday being on a contractor site running for 10 to 12 hours straight. The battery technology just isn't there. So, a great proof of concept, absolutely. Possibly a really good municipal machine. I haven't had a chance to run one yet and actually put it through its paces and know fully what the battery life is like. But knowing my sources on the case side from when I sold equipment and talking with them, it's absolutely a municipal machine right now. Or if you just know you're only going to run your backhoe for 6 hours a day, you can get by. If you go much over 6 to 8 hours, you're toast. So anyway, that's kind of where it's at. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Why is my scroll not working? There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ottawa, Ontario. Where now? See, I gotta look that up because again, I'm a dumb American that doesn't know his geography. Ottawa. I can't even spell it. Ottawa, Canada. Oh, Lord. Oh, so you're not that far away. Okay. All right. So you're, I'm gonna guess that's a 6-ish hour drive. You know what? I bet I can answer that real quick. Oh, Michigan. I was off. It's 8 hours and 20 minutes. Looks like you're gonna have to pay for a plane ticket and then do the ×2 plus 32. But we can make this happen. We can absolutely make this happen. K620B is a giant. Yes, it is. We actually talked to the guys over at FAE. So if you go over to AED Network on YouTube here, that is the AED's channel, and you will see all of our live broadcasts that we did this last week. The FAE one in particular was really interesting and fascinating. That was one of the questions we asked them about was how do the new machines, ASV just released 130, I think 130 or 138 horsepower machine. You've got the new K620B. Like, these are monsters in this weight class of skid steers. And we asked them how that was affecting their head development and if they've had to tweak things. And it was interesting because they said the exact opposite. Their heads have always been designed to run the higher horsepower. The heads just haven't been performing as well as they should on the lower horsepower machines. And so with these new class of machines, their head performance is actually going to jump way up. So that's really exciting to know that a lot of these attachment manufacturers are geared kind of towards that higher end to where this is only going to increase their productivity. I'm telling you right now, I can't wait to get my hands on a 620, and more importantly, I can't wait to get my hands on the DL550, the Minotaur. At some point, I would love to get my ass in the seat of one of those and really start playing and put it through its paces. So 2 inches of snow in North Carolina. That's good for North Carolina. I'm not gonna lie. That's shut down for Texas, where I'm from. So Andrew's gonna find himself in trouble down in Louisiana. He likes that Bayou accent, huh? Ryan, how can I figure out what companies are union and which aren't before I contact them? I've been looking at a handful of companies, and besides the one I know are union, can't find anything other than the companies. Great question. Honestly, call them and ask the office girl, hey, are you guys a union company or not? And that's probably the easiest way. You could go about it the other direction and you could call the union hall, but then that assumes you can get a hold of someone, or you can get someone to call you back and answer that question for you. Let's see here. What are we talking about? Andrew. Oh, no. Okay, we got a couple of retracted messages. Jay, this is the second year. They're only taking 25 to 30. Makes me mad. I'm already an operator. Just wanted to take the union for highway construction. So here's my advice, Jay. Try to hire on with a union company, and then they can kind of plug you in the back door of the union. That's what I did. That's how I was able to go into the union. I was already my God, I can't talk. I was already an operator. And when I hired on with Dan's Excavating, they were a union company. So what they did is they hired me, had me show up to the job, called the BA out, and he gave me a temporary, I think it was a 30-day journeyman card. And then he came back after 30 days and gave me a second 30-day journeyman card. And came back for they're supposed to do it 3 times. But after the second one, he had talked to my employer, established that I knew what I was doing, that I wasn't an idiot. Gotta watch saying that now these days. Ooh, sorry guys. Figured out that I wasn't an idiot, and then he basically just gave me my full journeyman's card, and I had to pay the whatever it was, $500 or whatever for a sign-up fee and all that stuff. It came right out of my paycheck. So that's actually my advice there, is don't fool around trying to get into the apprenticeship program, especially if you're already an operator and you already have that skill set. Because you got to think, for 4 years, you're not making full journeyman pay. So if you can skip that process, by all means, do it. Just go get your journeyman's card. And that way you're making full journeyman pay. Yeah, and Dennis just nailed it, which, by the way, what's going on, Dennis? Good to see you, my brother. And I apologize to the guys earlier. I have not been keeping up on everybody's content, and I am sorry. I have been so effing busy. I apologize for not keeping up on your stuff, Dennis. But you guys in the channel, go check out Dennis over at Dozer Dennis. Go check out James over at I just lost his name. Come on, man. Gibson Landscape and Construction. And then who else was in here? I forget who else was in here that has a channel. Oh, Matt over at Dignation 21. Go check those channels out, guys. Really, really good stuff. Oh, let's see here. When will they produce the Case Electric backhoe? Colton, it's actually in production already. They haven't done the big show and announced it and everything because it's new technology and they're kind of soft opening it to the market, but it is in production. If I wanted to, when I was selling equipment at the dealership, if I wanted to, I could have gone in and ordered that electric backhoe. In fact, I had a municipality right at the end that was interested in getting in one, and I just started to look into it before I got shit canned. So Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Oh, that's right, Jay. I forget you're over in Pennsylvania. That's not that far. Hey, E. Ryan, I appreciate you purchasing merch. My man, that's what I'm talking about. That is awesome. Thank you, sir. The merchandise purchases have died. Like, I don't know if I'm not marketing it well enough. I don't want to shove it on people and market it, but they have died off. I don't know why. Anyway, if I remember correctly, Taylor from Ken White Construction is also located in Ontario or Ottawa. You are correct, Ryan. And at one point in time, I would like to get up there and see him, although he's blown up like crazy. I don't know that he'll have time anymore. But yeah, I'd like to get up there and see him. I'm gonna see if I can't get him on the podcast at some point here. He's an interesting character. I would like to interview him. Yep, Brandon just nailed it. Find a union company, hire in with them, and then let them get you into the union. Colt, have you run an international harvester backhoe? I have not run an international harvester backhoe before. Let's see here. Toronto, that's how Brian got in, and clearly that's right, Brandon. You sell that story. My God, he's on it. That's awesome. Colton, where did you where did you land? Where did you plan? I'm guessing that's plan on dredging. I've done a lot of dredging in North Carolina. TV 620B reminds me. Okay, so there we go. Colton's, you just nailed it. That's because the TV 620B is the DL 550 frame. So they were kind of produced in tandem, because when they came up with the bigger frame for the DL 550, they went, hey, we've got this new frame, let's make a new big skid based off of it. And it just won't have all of the bells and whistles and options that the DL 550 does. It won't have the dozer setup. And so you're exactly right. They are the same machine. It is the same frame underneath there. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the same motor powering both. Sorry, guys. Try to force you. I know a handful try to force you to go through the normal union process. Here's the deal, Jay. Anytime you get involved at the union level, there's always going to be the politics. There's always going to be the guys who are, you should have gone through the formal beer. I'm sorry, but screw those guys. Just because I didn't go through your apprenticeship doesn't mean I haven't been in the industry for 4 years busting my ass learning it. And let's be honest, busting my ass learning it from the ground level on the end of a shovel gave me a far better education than sitting my ass in a seat going through the apprenticeship program in a rock truck or a roller. I'm sorry, give me a break. If you're gonna try to tell me I didn't go through the proper channels because I didn't go through a formal apprenticeship program, put me up against any one of the new apprentices as far as skills go, and I will absolutely stomp them on their knowledge. And that was, you know, obviously now that I'm so advanced in my career, but back in the day, after I had spent all of the time on the ground on my shovel, I would have knocked them out of the park with the knowledge that I had. And that's why I always coach guys, don't go through the apprenticeship program. Go get your knowledge at a non-union company, because it's a way better education. The union gears you straight towards the operator seat. You go straight into a seat. You don't learn how to use a laser and grade rod. You don't learn how to set pipe. You don't learn how to hook up a, you know, water tap or a sewer tap or any of that stuff. You don't learn how to, you know, operate with inside trench boxes as an actual laborer. You don't learn that stuff. You're learning how to run a roller, how to run an off-road truck. And then you move up into maybe a dozer or a skid steer. And then you move into the excavator. You never learn the fundamental building blocks. So, sorry, as you can tell, there's a little bit of a soapbox there. Anyway, we don't have to do dredging. Feel nervous putting a machine on a barge, having them charge. Video gets sketchy at times. As long as you have wood mats, stag will be fine. Hello. Who is Shane shouting hello at? I'm so confused. Shane got Tourette's all of a sudden. Brian needs to find the video of the company I used to work for. The main guy, like the owner's son, flipped a hoe off a barge. That would be an entertaining video to watch. Dennis killed a GoPro the other day with the 236B. Was trying to get some snowplowing videos. So I know I'm gonna regret saying this. I'm gonna knock on the desk. To date, I have not killed a GoPro. I've put them in some risky spots, but I have not killed a GoPro. I've banged them around a little bit. I've scratched them up, but I haven't killed one. So, you know, props to you for actually killing her. You're a bolder man than I am. So I had my feet in the laborers union 373 before I withheld my operator's position. Also, feeling left out on the shout of the channels here, Shane. Ooh, so Shane, uh-oh. Ryan, do you have a channel? I didn't know that you had a channel. And Jackson, I agree. It is kind of like a big family in here. I mean, in all honesty, this is the brotherhood of the trades right here. This, what we're seeing in the comments is the embodiment of that brotherhood. And that's why I love the trades so much, but not the trades like, oh, I'm in a brotherhood, but you're an asshole because you got into the union without putting in your time. Sorry, no. The actual brotherhood is the fact that we all get out, we all bust our asses together, and then we can sit in here and we can shoot the shit together in the comments. We can all have a good time. We can drink together. That's what the brotherhood of the trades is all about. That's what I'm passionate about. Not the fake brotherhood. I'm a fan of the real brotherhood. Everybody helping each other out, everybody having each other's back. That's the cool part of the trades. Absolutely, Jackson. Colton, new cat logo's growing on me. I'm with you. It's growing on me slowly. I still prefer the old one, but it doesn't look as, I don't know. When I first saw it, it looked like it should be on a Tyco toy. I don't feel that way so much anymore. Oh, excuse me. Pardon. Taylor would be a good guest for Diesel and Iron. Yeah, see what I can do. I'm gonna reach out. It's funny we're talking about this because I listened to the interview he did with Aaron Witt on BuildWitt's podcast, and I'd like to interview him in two different settings. On the dirt, I really want to talk to him about growing his business. And finding people via social media. But then on the podcast on Sweat and Grime, I would love to get into kind of their history as a company and then mental health. I don't know if you guys caught that, but he talked about going to counseling and dealing with the stress and like panic attacks and everything from the stress of running the business. And I think mental health is one of those things we don't ever talk about in the trades, even though our suicide rate is 4 times the national average. And so I'd really like to get him on to talk about that. So all that to say, it's funny we're talking about this because I planned on emailing him this next week to see if I could line that up. So stay tuned on that one. Are link belt excavators and case excavators the same? Yes, they are both Sumitomo. Talk to Wit about Taylor White. He's had him on twice. Yep, that's what I just referenced. Brandon, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Jackson, Brian, when will Carson be on the podcast? Been looking forward to the podcast for a while. Carson is dope. I agree. Carson is dope. And he is another one that I'm intending to reach out to here in the next week or two. He has been super swamped because Minnesota's been getting slammed with snow. They've had one of the busiest snow seasons of their entire career this year. So I'm trying to wait for him to slow down a little bit before I give him a call. But we'll get him on here pretty quick. Cox, Nathan, yes, 100%. There is no experience like hands-on experience. Colton's, do I like Komatsu graders? Never ran one. I honestly don't have an opinion there. Jackson, and that is why I'm furiously knocking on wood, is because I know that's going to happen sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to take a GoPro out and just obliterate it, and then I'm going to be like, damn it, why did I talk about that in the podcast or in the live stream? Son of a... Anyway, Ryan, I don't have a channel, but I think Shane's hello came after you shouted out Dozer, Dennis, and someone else. Oh, I see. I gotcha. Do you go through Machinery Trader magazines? I go through them with all the dreams. I do not. I don't, because I'm in a position to where I'm getting to run a lot of really unique stuff, and now that the channel's kind of really starting to push, those doors are opening even further. So I drool about D11s and 385s and things that I don't really get my hands on in my position. Those are the machines I really like. My goal, I've said this before, I'm going to be totally honest. One of my goals for starting this channel was that ultimately I would land myself in a D11 so that I can go out and play for a day in a D11. I'm sorry, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I want to freaking push in a D11 for a day. That would be an absolute riot. So, let's see here. I'm sorry, guys. This week has been, I'm tired. Rick and I got up at 3:30 in the morning for our flight back from Orlando on Thursday, and I'm still working on recovering from that. So I sort of apologize, but I'm not really apologizing. Anyway, who is Aaron Witt? Go check out Build Wit, and you will see who Aaron Witt is. He is making some waves in the dirt industry for sure. Jay, are you still doing your Skype call? I think it would be a cool live stream to have a couple guys on Skype call and interact with the stream. Yes, I hadn't really considered doing a live stream with Taylor. But that's actually a good idea. Maybe we can hook that up. I will reach out to him this week and see if he'd be interested in the live stream. Good idea. I think you guys are coming up with some good ideas tonight. See if Taylor wants to live stream. Okay. All right. Good idea, Jay. Appreciate that. Andrew. Yes. Andrew, that's the honest truth, Colton. If you really want to know about Aaron Witt, just private message Andrew. Andrew's one of Aaron's biggest fans. I'm fairly confident he's mentioned at least once or twice in here that he has a poster of Aaron on his bathroom ceiling that he looks up at longingly anytime he's in the bathroom, mostly when he's in the shower though. So Andrew is a huge raging boner fan of Aaron Witt. Definitely send him a message. Colton's, when did Link Belt get a partnership with Case? I don't think it's a partnership. I think they both just have the same excavator. I don't know that it's a true partnership, that they have a lot of back and forth. But at the same time, don't quote me on that, because I don't know a lot of the inner workings of these relationships that happen behind the scenes. So I don't know. Connor, what's going on, my man? Good to see you. Thoughts on wheeled excavators? I think they're a super handy tool in the right position. I'm not a huge fan of the wobbliness of them. I mean, you get used to it over time, but every time, it doesn't matter how many times I've operated a wheeled excavator and how many times I've gotten used to the wobbliness of it, every time I get into it again, I'm confident we're gonna tip over. Now it's just gotten to the point where I get into it knowing I'm gonna rock all over the place and I'm gonna be uncomfortable for the first half of the day, but I'm not gonna actually tip over. But in all honesty, in the right situation, like on a road job when you're doing finish work and cleanup work, man, it's hard to find a better tool than a wheeled excavator. They're really, really handy. Especially if we could stop being stubborn, ignorant Americans and we start slapping those attachments, those tilt rotator buckets and stuff on them. And a wheeled excavator is a powerful tool to have in your tool belt for sure. Let's see here. When are you going to have another special guest on live? Great question. I honestly haven't thought about it just because I've been so busy. So this whole Florida trip has been about a month and a half of just prep, like getting equipment in order, getting schedules. Before the trip, we actually did pre-interviews with everyone that we were going to interview. So that took a bunch of time. So my focus for the last like month and a half has been the Florida trip. So now that that's over, I can kind of mentally shift gears, sort of. Because I can tell you right now, the first 2 days of this week are going to be following up with all of the business cards I collected down in Florida of people who were interested in chatting with us. And so I can sort of shift gears, but at the same time, I'm still very busy kind of on the business development side of things. But that being said, knowing that you guys want to have guests on the live stream, I will absolutely start looking into trying to get some more guys on the live stream. Let's see here. My cousin just got his hands on a new Kubota Mini, 6-ton Mini. Need to get in the seat of it. Dude, those Kubota Minis are solid machines. I can't really say a whole lot bad about Kubota. They put out some solid equipment. I'll be in a couple of weeks for the live stream. That's right. Brandon's just going to volunteer to be on the live stream. He's already been on Sweat and Grime. Now he's wanting to take over the live stream, but pretty soon we're just going to turn this into the Brandon Culpepper show. And then we have to set everything with not safe for work tags because he's going to be on here in his pink thong and fishnets. It's going to be a whole deal. Doesn't even have to be with Taylor. Some guys from the chat, etc. You know, like I said, I had no idea you guys had this much interest on me having guests on the live stream. Knowing that there's this much interest, I'll put more of an effort into getting some more guests on the live stream. I just haven't really pursued it because it's a decent amount of work on my end to kind of schedule them and reach out to them and coordinate. And so I haven't really been pursuing it. I've kind of been picking the low-hanging fruit up until this point, but now that you guys are really interested, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I see you follow Vicky Saraskas. I don't even know how to say that. From the antagonist. Oh, you're talking to Brandon. That's why. Let's see here. Do I like Incon? I don't know. I don't know because I haven't had a chance to play with one. And I don't know how it compares to like Tilt Rotator or any of the other brands. So I honestly don't know. There's another goal of mine. I need to get my hands on a tilt rotator. Ryan, me and you both, man. I'm in the same boat. I am dying to play with a tilt rotator and put it through its paces and actually learn how to think about using a machine with a tilt rotator. We'll see. Yeah, the wobbliness absolutely would feel like being on a dredge. It is super wobbly in a wheeled machine with your outriggers not being down, so it just takes time getting used to. Connor, hope you had a good time in Orlando. We just ordered a 316M with a rototilt and a trailer, the whole 9 yards. Ooh, Connor, that's kind of sexy. I'm liking that. That's send me some pictures. I'd like to see them. You should get Rick on here, dude. I'm all for having Rick on here. Rick is lazy and he doesn't want to drive over here. It's like 15 minutes over to my house and Rick doesn't want to drive over here to be on the live stream. So that's all you guys. You need to start blowing up the comments with Rick needs to be on the pod, or Rick needs to be on the live stream. I'd love to have Rick on the live stream. I've offered multiple times. but it's, you know, it's almost 9 o'clock our time, which, by the way, we're gonna do a 5-minute warning. He always ends up not coming over here. Same with Sweat and Grime. Matt motherfucking Totten will sit his ass right here in the studio with me, and we'll do a live cast. And Rick is remote because Rick is a little bitch and doesn't like to drive over here. I said it, Rick. If you're watching this, I said it. Anyway, tell Rick he needs to come over here, guys. I'll get him on the live stream. Let's see here. Where do we go? You guys, boy, you guys picked up steam here. Let's see here. Carrie Hardy, or watch the podcast live. Which, by the way, we're gonna try to do another podcast live here in the next week or two. I'm working on hammering out the details with a couple guests. Real guests should be on the podcast. The live stream should be the OG crew, like Shane. Oh, so Andrew's setting the tone. So real guests can go on the podcast, but it's only gonna be, which in all honesty, if you guys have a webcam and you can do an actual video stream through Skype, shoot me an email and we can absolutely arrange to get you on. Because that's really easy. I've already got Skype programmed into my software here. So as long as you can do a Skype call with video, shoot me an email. We'll arrange a time. Let's do it. Let's do it. Jackson, working on the garbage man. I've got a lot of balls in the air with Sweat and Grime at the moment, so it might not be super quick. In all honesty, just be patient and give me some time. I have not forgotten about the garbage man request, and in all honesty, I love that idea. I want to get them on, but with everything that we had fallout from Florida, plus guests we had already in the works, it's probably going to be a little bit before we're able to get the garbage guy on. So Jay, waiting to get my hands on an Incon 2 would feel like Christmas. Yeah, absolutely feel like Christmas getting my hands on one of those. So whew. Ryan, haven't talked to him about it since he got it 4 days ago. Had 57. We both liked it. Kind of did everything I did. I am not the low-hanging fruit. Brandon, let's be honest. You were dying to sport the pink thong. You were dying to get on Sweat and Grime. You were absolutely low-hanging fruit. I did not have to chase you down at all. You were pestering me to be on the podcast, brother. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying. I didn't have to work to get you. If you're gonna claim to not be low-hanging fruit, you can't be so easy to put out. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. Yeah, I agree, Shane. It would be cool to have a big live stream, because I don't have a big live stream. I'm like, at any given time, there's only 20 people watching versus Dirt Perfect. Like, how the F? Here's what gets me. Like, with all the production value that I put into my videos, with all of the effort I put into my live streams and everything, I don't hold a candle to like freaking Dirt Perfect, who's just out there just fucking winging it. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love him. I love what he does. But it's like, how the F do these guys get such a crazy following? I don't understand it. Being on a barge is nervous because I don't know if the machine is going to go overboard. You know, you'll find out when you do. It's not ideal. Oh, Andrew doesn't like being chained down. He likes being all loosey-goosey. I like it. Ooh, I like it. Colton, have a good week, brother. By the way, 2 minutes, guys. Someone draw me a line, because we're gonna axe this baby. Brandon's totally down to go live. He wants to show us his snakes, and you know what? I'm just gonna tell you right now. Brandon's gonna show up with his boa constrictor, and he's gonna be doing this towel thing, except it's gonna be with a boa constrictor. That's what you guys need to expect when Brandon's on the live stream, and that's why, let's be honest. The entirety of the live stream with Brandon is probably just going to be a giant Vaseline smudge across the lens, because nothing's going to be appropriate. Nathan, you guys enjoy yourselves. Have a good week. Oh my gosh, I just saw the playback of what I just did on camera. That was probably a mistake. Especially if you leave the audio out of it. Ooh, that's... I don't know if I wanted to put that one out there. Nathan, have a great week, man. Thanks for coming and hanging out. All of you guys, honestly, thanks for coming and hanging out. Tilt Rotator doesn't know a single person that's dying to try and... Let's see here if I can read that one again. Tilt Rotator, don't know a single person that has one, dying to try one. That's where I'm at, Sean. Is the podcast thing an open invitation? You know, Ryan, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're getting pretty dang backlogged, but if you want to get your name on the queue, shoot me an email. We want to interview the guys in the field, so we'll get you in at some point. Who's the one with the secret OnlyFans? It's not secret. I keep talking about it, guys. It's just the same thing I do every day, except the freaking control top-down view. I'm not wearing pants. I mean, you got a third stick in the mix. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's the line, guys. That's the line. I'm out. That was a good live stream. You guys have yourselves a good week. In all honesty, have a good week. We will absolutely be live next weekend. We're going to go back to doing relatively consistent live streams for the foreseeable future until I start to travel. So thanks for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you guys on the next live stream.